What's the biggest SOL mistake you have ever made? My girlfriend and I decided to do it in a tent while camping. We used glycerine based lube. The rest of the night was spent killing ants. I tried deep throating and threw up on his dick. Yep. I've been thrown up on before. She thought it was SI to try and lick it up. The second time I had sex, we tried doggy. I had never encountered queefing before. We were in a small enclosed space, and when the noise emitted from her vagina, it sounded like a proud and regal horn used to signify the presence of a royal. I laughed so hard I lost my boner and got in so much trouble with her, as I couldn't stop and she started crying. My family heard everything. While we were at it, I exclaimed something like "oh yeah," and she said deeper, to which I responded "oh yeah" in a deeper voice. Do not try this at home, kids. Great joke but not so great SX. Making a SX tape. There is no way to destroy SX so fast as realizing you sound like a middle-aged Jewish mother-in-law from New York yelling for everyone to get to the dinner table before it's cold. And my poor, sweet SI boyfriend keeps asking if he's making that face again. When I was younger, I managed to fit my flaccid penis into a Head and Shoulders shampoo bottle. Anywho, I got an erection and couldn't get my penis out. I had to wait till the erection went away. Somehow, I managed to cut the inside of my foreskin during all of this and bled in the shampoo. It was one of the most painful things in the world. Shampoo stings like a mother efker. Should have used conditioner. I lost virginity at 26. That's a long time after sex education classes. My partner told me that we don't need a condom for the few days after her period. Our son is 7 now. My ex asked me to come on her face once. I ended up shooting it right up her nose. She was blowing my cum out of her nose for like 2 hours afterwards. My freshman year of high school, I had my first real girlfriend. During Christmas time, my dad thought it would be a good idea if he drove us around and looked at the Christmas lights in other neighborhoods. I was sitting on the driver's side in the back seat and she was on the passenger side of his Malibu. After about 20 minutes of driving, she was on my side and almost on top of me. This situation made me slightly uncomfortable because we were right behind my dad. On the way home, she decided to give me a handjob, which was the first time anything like that had happened to me. At the time I thought it was kinky and cool, but now the thought of it makes me cringe. There was no radio on or anything. And he obviously knew what was happening. I'm a senior now and my friends still give me shit for it. Your dad is a homie, man. I fingered a girl's belly button because I thought it was her clit. Holy cringe, Batman, I've been gilded. Thanks, internet friend. My ex-GF was super religious. Didn't want to have sex before marriage. I don't really know if this counts, since it was kind of a delayed thing. But I realized years after we'd broken up that she was offering me the ass the entire time we were dating. Her detailed description of her friend's experience with it was an attempt to get me interested. Wife and I are being amorous during a time when she could not be on birth control for medical reasons. I didn't realize this and was not wearing a condom. She informs me of the situation way too late. I inform her I'm seconds from finishing. She puts her foot on my chest and kicks me off her as well as off the bed. I go ass over tea kettle and end up with my cock directly in my own face and learn something every PRN girl knows. Cum stings. TL. Doctor, improper communication leads to self-facial. My so and I were going at it pretty hard once, and she was just having one of those days where she's really close but can't make it happen. At one point we slowed down a bit and had a steady pace going. Afterward we were taking about it and she admitted she was about to orgasm but lost it when I said, "Slow and steady wins the race." We had a good laugh about it and I now know how terrible I am at dirty talk. Edit. Thanks everybody for giving my so and I a good laugh today. Also, this may or may not have happened 2 hours before I posted this comment. Edit. I my first gilding. I'm sure my so will be glad to hear I sacrificed her orgasm for gold. Instead of saying yeah or yes, I just kept repeating yup. Oh yup. Yup. Go on baby. Yup. Yup. Please. Okay. That's hilarious. Edit. Okay. I finally got rid of my LSX joke top comment. Still a SX joke though. I guess. I was giving this guy a blowjob and he was throat F-king me. Told me he was going to come. When he did, it ended up going up my nose and leaked out too. Ah. I got really stoned and took a bath. Decided to fap. But the only thing I had for lube was lava soap. If you're not familiar with it, lava soap is really abrasive. Made with pumice from volcanic rocks. It's good for scrubbing stuff like grease or paint off your hands. It felt fine at the time. But I discovered afterward I was basically sandpapering my cock with every stroke. I had huge, painful welts where I'd rubbed the skin off that lasted about a week. Edit. Yes. I'm circumcised. No. I don't always use lube or fap with a death grip. In this case I did because I was in the bath and I've found that when I'm fapping in water, bath, shower, hot tub, public pool, the wet skin to skin contact creates too much friction. So I need some kind of lube. Edit II. Please. All my cut and uncut fap bris. Let's not let our penises be a wedge that splits us apart. Instead, let's set aside our differences. Celebrate the cock. And all come together. I have a few. When I was 14, I started dating this girl. Soon after, we lost our virginities together. And our relationship quickly turned very sexual. We used to wait for her parents to leave the house before we even made out. But we quickly transitioned into my mom's in the basement. Let's FCK before she comes upstairs. One of these days, after school, I'm F-king her from behind when her dad just waltzes into her room. As I'm trying to remove myself from his daughter, all I catch is my apologies. Carry on like this is FCKing a regular thing. We laughed about it afterwards, her and I. Not the dad. But at the time it was traumatizing. On a similar note, a different ex's mom walked in on me mucking out her barn with just my legs and ass exposed from under the blanket. Whatever you guys are doing, you need to stop and come down for dinner. But joke's on her. I had already ate dessert. You're a F-kin savage. Right when I came, I looked her in the eyes and said, "Oh, you made me ink." My boyfriend once said his own name instead of mine whilst having sex. Completely ruined the mood. Had sex with a squirter while she was on her period. It was a F-king bloodbath. At least you got your username from it. I got really drunk one night and made an account so I could hook up with this girl off Pharmacinly.com. Because city folk just don't understand. Alcohol gives me confidence. Too much alcohol gives me whiskey dick. Who keeps pushing the envelope on nights out? I had a dick in my bum just to realize I'm not gay. Just really into butt stuff. Found myself a girlfriend now who is somewhat into BDSM, so I get my kick out of it. But that one time it was more traumatizing than I would have ever imagined. Even now. At the time I was pretty sure I was gay. So I seeked it out myself. Throwaway OFC. This was an almost sexual encounter, so it doesn't technically count, but it was still awkward. One time I was about to go home from the bars with my first older lady, but I had to pee first. I went to the restroom, but I didn't pull my dick all the way out of my pants and I pissed down my leg. In an effort to fix the situation, I started splashing water on the rest of my pants so it would all be the same color. It didn't work. She asked what happened and I told her the floor was wet and I fell. I was so embarrassed that I pretended to be hurt and went home alone. Not mine, but a good friend of mine decided to listen to Cosmo and use honey as lube. Turns out her and her boyfriend are mildly allergic and got hives on their bits. Lube. There is nothing about honey that makes me think it would lubricate anything. It sticks to things. It makes things stick to other things. It crystallizes. It is the anti-lube. I actually had sex with a Chad. He thought me being submissive in bed meant he could leave immediately after because I like feeling worthless. F King Chad. Ex-fiance was on top. And I was thrusting up into her. Pulled out a bit too far. And when I went to go back in, slammed it near the wrong hole. Some of the tip went in. But mostly I had just thrust my dick into bone at jackrabbit speeds. It hurt like a mother efker. She made a little surprised oh noise. But I screamed freaking loud and rolled on my side. When she put 2 and 2 together she started to laugh her ass off and asked if I was okay. When I finally got out of the crippling pain portion of the incident I breathed a defeated yeah. And sprawled out on the bed. She promptly fell back, probably from the laughter, and then said in a cute little voice ooh why pooper. It hurt so bad but the way she handled it made me chuckle. Edit. It figures my highest ranking post on Reddit is about the time I almost broke my dick. This is technically a blowing SX mistake. I used to be extremely socially retarded and drank way too much. So I'm at this graduation party for some people I'd went to college with bar crawling. I graduated earlier since I was a transfer and they put me on the freshman hall. I moved to another state and hadn't seen them in 2 years. Anyway, this girl I had liked. Gorgeous. Smart. Redhead. Great legs. Well, I ran into her and we drank. She strokes my arm. My leg. I'm focused on my drink and because I'm not a looker whenever a girl who looks conventionally attractive likes me I assume I must be mistaken. I'd only had been with really unattractive women for that part of my life for that reason. The guy asks her to hang out with him. She says I'm with him. I say sincerely don't mind me, I don't want to ruin your night. I'll catch up with some of my other friends. Dude. The look of pain and discomfort my girlfriend gave me when we first tried anal was pretty telling. Always use lube. My first boyfriend and I were in the heat of the moment. I was on the receiving end and we grabbed the only lube we could find. It was dark in his room. Everything was going good until I felt my butthole on fire. I told him something was wrong and he turned the light on. Turned out the lube we used was Jergens cherry almond lotion. RIP my butthole. Open bracket. Edit. Thank you for your concern about my butthole. It is fine now. No. A trip to the hospital wasn't necessary. I didn't break out in hives either. It just was very irritated for a couple days. And I guess doesn't matter had SX. I had no idea what was happening until I read your username. So what happened? Did you have to go to the hospital? About 3 months ago I was walking into work and I got a scorching hot SXT from my wife about what she wanted to do to me that night. First SXT ever. My self-satisfied semi-chub suddenly left me as I realized she was working that night and was actually assisting her boyfriend I knew nothing about. Only 20 years we've been together. On the positive side she moves out at the start of next month. TL. Doctor, I am a loser. PM me your nudes if you are a chick. I'm lonely. Probably most embarrassing thing so far in my SZOL life. I just laugh at it now with my boyfriend. But man. So we were getting heavy. And I decided. Hey. I'll get on my knees and suck you off MR. Chocolate syrup. So he's like. Hell yeah. So I start doing it. Then he wants to come on my face so I'm like. Oh okay. Sure. And he. You know. Does his thing. Except he doesn't come. He pisses on me. I got golden showered. He was horrified. I was horrified. I smelled like awful disgusting piss. And he went soft because. Well. That's a good way to stop it. Plenty of soap. Shampoo. Conditioner later. I was fine. TL. DR. Boyfriend pissed on me instead of coming. Boyfriend is not R. Kelly. After I lost my virginity to a girl, whom I dated for basically 20 minutes before we had sex, we went downstairs to be with her family and I tried to be smooth and impress her by beating through the fire and flames by Dragon Force on Guitar Hero 3, expert difficulty. She expected to cuddle, maybe discreet hand job. But I totally beat that song. My ex and I were having nasty time in her apartment. And her 2 daughters often walk in and out of her room. They aren't used to knocking, so they just walked in if the door is unlocked. Well, as I was violating their mother, the eldest, around 18, tried to walk in. But couldn't because the door was locked. I panicked and hid my body under the sheets face down so she would thinking I was asleep. And my ex did the same. The door can be unlocked without a key. So my ex just told her daughter to unlock the door. She must have known what we were doing because she asked if we were naked under the sheets. Jokingly, she tried to grab her mother's leg under the sheets. But instead she grabbed my bare ass. My ex yelled at her to get out of the room. It was pretty much awkward talking to or being around her daughter after that. My ex. There was a time with my then girlfriend when we got really drunk one night and went back to my place for fun times and sleep. Our foreplay was super slow, but intentionally to make us insane with lust. I'm on top of her and we're trying to take off my underwear. It's stuck on my ankle or some shitty and I get frustrated and jerk my leg too hard. Underwear's off, but my knee canonizes straight into her pelvic bone. I'm talking right on the lips. She made a series of half cry, half laugh sounds as I'm holding her just saying sorry over and over. After her pain settled we laughed so fking hard. But goddamn did I feel embarrassed. Putting it in the wrong hole. Oh acute, 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 acute. No way. Did she get pregnant? There's a wrong hole? Girl liked me and wanted to have sex with me. But me being shy and thought I was being a gentleman kept ignoring the signs. Finally she's really drunk at a party and asked me to take her home. She proceeded to take out her boob and lick them in front of me while I'm driving. I'm shocked and aroused, but because she is drunk I'm cautious. I get near her house and she instructs me to park behind this bush near her house. She then moves in close and gives me the FCK me eyes. I think I'm taking advantage of a drunk girl, so I tell her you really need a friend right now. She looks at me with the WTF face and gets out the car. I'm driving back home still wondering if that was the right thing to do. Next party a week later she is with another dude and won't talk to me. Did the right thing. Mate. UTSX. 0/10 would not recommend. After deep throating this guy I was seeing in college, all he wanted was oral sex. I got whiplash from him pushing my head down there. Different guy discovers an L is a green light with me. Then all he wanted was my ass. What I learned. 1. More girls need to try these things too. You can be having a lot of sex and still have a lonely vagina. And 3. I may be a SLT. Edit. Yikes. I must add that I married a man who loves all of me and I am only a SLT for him. He is creative as well. Hot sex keeps you young. Was offered head in a Macy's. It was a mall Macy's, so it was empty. Biggest regret. Not accepting it as I had just met her that day. Never trust a fart after foie gras and champagne. Getting an IUD was a pretty shitty mistake. It turned me from a 3 times a day anyway kind of person into a once a month, and even then I have to be dragged out from hiding under the sheets and promised new appliances. Who once sex starts I go back to my old self, but I keep forgetting that I can no longer handle the taste of semen. And when that semen hits my throat I pull back and get a load in my eye every FCK time. The worst part is I am always surprised. Have you tried the copper ones? Perhaps the matchstick is a better option as well. An IUD that kills a sex drive is way too effective. Taking antidepressants took my orgasm away. I had this problem. It was so frustrating that I stopped taking them. Thing is, the pills made me so chilled out that I wasn't even turned on anymore. But annoyed the FCK out of me that I would have got the exact same pleasure from touching my elbow as I would have done my vagina. 15 years ago. Hot woman who had earlier told me she really liked me and couldn't wait for our date blew me in my car on the way to dinner because she had to taste me and I made her so wet she couldn't control herself. I'm a guy. What was I gonna say? No. She swallows. Then sits up. Dot. Looks at me angrily and says, seriously? You forced me to do that. Still scares me thinking about it. Edit to add that I ended up taking her to a quick dinner where, during dinner, she explained about her time getting mental help. And loving cock and wanting mine some more. And that she really wanted to get married soon. I did my best to sound positive but emotionally neutral. I took her home and nicely said goodnight and left. Dot. Scared out of my wits. FCK. That. Likely that you are blind to your micropressures due to male privilege. If she says you forced her, then you forced her. The only honorable thing to do at this point is to turn yourself in.